I was on a cruise with my in-laws when my BIL turned to his girlfriend and said, "The abortion pills you put in her vitamins are working perfectly." My hand froze on my beer. He said it in a secret language from my wife's childhood, one she taught me but couldn't remember through the PTSD of 7 miscarriages. I froze. Tino continued, getting cockier. "There's only a month until Grandpa's will reading. If she doesn't have kids by then, we'll get $4 million. Clara cackled like a witch. "Your plan to make sure she's not pregnant was genius. I ain't getting no measly 600K. My wife Olivia sat right next to me, getting ready to take what she thought were her evening vitamins. I immediately sprawled across the table, knocking everything over while pretending to be too drunk on mimosas. You see, I knew telling her would break her heart. After our 5th loss, she'd tried to jump off our balcony, screaming that her body was a graveyard, and her brother was the one to talk her out of it. That night, I waited until everyone was asleep. My hands shook as I swapped all her pills with sugar pills from the ship's store, my mind racing. She was already pregnant again. We'd found out just before the cruise, but hadn't told anyone yet. The next morning at breakfast, I watched my brother-in-law closely. "Olivia felt nauseous this morning," I mentioned casually. "Could be morning sickness." He choked on his coffee. "She's probably just seasick." His girlfriend muttered something in their language about upping the dose. Then came the moment he'd been waiting for. Olivia suddenly grabbed her stomach during lunch, wincing. It was just food poisoning from the cheap sushi, but my BIL's face completely lit up. He actually fist bumped his girlfriend under the table. In their language, he whispered, "We're gonna be rich, baby." Clara looked at Olivia's retreating form and mumbled in their language, "Do you ever feel, I don't know, a little bad?" Tino snorted. "For what? After the will reading, she can pop out as many as she wants. 7 miscarriages, though. 7 necessary business decisions," he corrected, taking another sip of champagne. The next day, I was refilling our drinks when I heard him on a video call with his biggest client. "You know what, Chandler? Go F yourself. I don't need your peasant money anymore." "Rough day?" I asked innocently, handing him a mojito. "Best day of my life," he slurred, already drunk before noon. "Gonna be so rich I could buy 10 companies like that dump. Don't you want to wait until you get the will first? You know, don't count your chickens before they hatch." He laughed. "Poor people wait. Rich people plan. Big difference." That's when his girlfriend grabbed his arm, whispering in their language, "If you're so sure the pills worked, why wait? Let's celebrate now." She dragged him toward the ship's luxury boutique, and I watched him max out all his credit cards with the security of money he'd never have. By day 3, he'd completely lost it. I watched him march to the cruise director's desk, demanding to sign their Pinnacle Elite membership. $150,000, the director said carefully. "No problem," Tino slurred, signing the contract. His stupidity made me gasp. In the span of just a few days, he had already spent his entire will allowance on useless garbage. That afternoon at the buffet, when staff asked him to wait in line like everyone else, he exploded. "Do you know who I am?" he screamed. "I'm about to own this cruise line. You're all fired." Security had to escort him back to his cabin while other passengers filmed. The final night's dinner was perfect. My brother-in-law stood up, swaying in his wine-stained designer shirt. "A toast," he shouted, "to new beginnings, to successful business ventures." That's when Olivia lurched from her chair, hand over her mouth, racing for the bathroom. My brother-in-law actually smirked. "Too much rich food for her delicate stomach," he announced in English, then added in twin language to his girlfriend, "Finally, I thought those pills would never work." The ship's doctor I'd confided in 3 days ago ran into the bathroom with her. They both came back an hour later with huge smiles and an ultrasound photo. "Congratulations, Mr. and Mrs. Murphy. The ultrasound confirms you're 12 weeks pregnant, with twins." I picked my wife up and twirled her around. The color drained from my brother-in-law's face like someone pulled a plug. He stammered. "That's impossible. The doses She took." Every head in the dining room turned to face him. I stood up slowly. The words were forming in my mind, ready to destroy him in the language he thought was his secret weapon. Full story on channel, linked below.